Hello,
Hi.
welcome to The Patch. This week brought to you by Marvel Avengers Academy and Squarespace. They threw me off. I wasn't expecting them in the middle for some reason.
Yeah, they've consolidated to the center of the screen.
I've been gone. I was gone last week. Thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about them in a bit. I was in Las Vegas for DICE, which is an annual gaming convention. Or it's weird to call it a convention. It's almost like a conference where...
Yeah, because it's industry and it's game developers, but it's almost it's not like GDC.
Right,
It's like
it's
a condensed.
Right, it's like a celebration of video games as an art form, but it's attended by very high-level members
Like
of
the
the game
industry
industry.
luminaries.
So what were you
Right.
doing there?
I don't know. I actually hosted a roundtable while I was there.
You did?
Yeah, it was really a weird trip. I felt like an adult for the first time in a long time.
What roundtable did you host, Gus?
I sat in on first before I hosted one. I sat in on one about building online communities, that was moderated by Randy Pitchford, and then I hosted one about like online influencer marketing, and I did that. This episode of The Patch brought to you by Marvel Avengers Academy. But it was really good, and there's a lot of influencer marketing.
I see. We were
I was
just like
momentarily so
we're
influenced.
like I don't
Yeah.
understand.
See?
This is a panel sponsor.
Subliminal. So, the weird thing about it is, since it's a conference, normally you go to a conference and there's like tons of different talks and you have to choose what you're going to do. But at DICE, it's just like one panel at a time, and you go in and you listen to a couple, and then there's like a break and you get coffee, then you come back and you listen. And they led off with a really fascinating panel discussion. It was about interactive storytelling, and it was hosted by Randy Pitchford and Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller.
Interesting.
And because Randy Pitchford, I guess, is big into magic, and I've seen a previous talk of his at DICE like 2 years ago where he did like some magic tricks
You're
on
right,
stage.
yeah.
But this one, I learned a lot. Penn Jillette talked a lot about like up close magic and street magic, and about principles in delivering that kind of magic that can be applied to interactive storytelling.
Like misdirection.
Well, yes, but not in the way you think of it. So what he talked about was, like, you see like a magician who does a card trick, right? Like pick a card, any card. Mm-hmm. He says that when a magician comes up to you and says that, they don't necessarily know what trick they're going to do.
It depends on what card you pick.
Right. It's like they hope you pick a certain card, and if you pick that card, they'll go with the trick they had in mind. If you don't pick that card, but you pick one from somewhere else, then they're going to be like, okay, well, now it narrows it down. Now I can do one of these tricks. And then as it progresses, then they learn to feel out the trick depending on what feedback they're getting from the person who they're doing the trick with.
Interesting.
And so they talked about like branching storylines in video games and how that could apply, like how stories can be different based on the interaction that you're having with the person participating.
That's a little weird, though. It's like, all right, here's someone that's not in this industry who's going to tell you how your industry could do something.
Well, it's like he didn't say like this was good advice. It was just more like insight from the crossover, from the magic industry.
I mean, from what you describe, yeah, I can see how that some of those insights would be interesting. It's just like, here's a fireman. He's going to tell you how being a fireman can influence video game development. Like, all right.
Well, he also opened up when Penn Jillette was talking, he also opened up the talk by saying that, up until a few years ago, he never played video games, but he was always a very staunch advocate for like video game rights and not demonizing video games for
As a medium.
right, for violence or anything like that. That video games, it's no different than any other medium. It's not like brainwashing people to go out and become murderers. And as a result of that, like he started trying to play more and get into it. And so I thought that was probably the most interesting one to me, like the whole different way to look at storytelling.
No, that's cool. And keep in mind too that our industry, like video games, loves anyone who's been a successful in another entertainment medium, like movie and TV, all that sort of stuff. Can't get it. Did something just? Is everyone okay in there?
Mariel died, maybe. She's limping now.
Mariel's limping. We killed her.
All right.
Well, someone broke an hourglass in there before. Speaking of which, you did it.
I did it. Well, I'm on top of it.
Nice.
I'm several weeks in a row. I've not missed once.
Well, someone in the control room is busting hourglasses left and right. So this one's numbers up soon.
Not the baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this panel, if you're curious to watch the whole thing, I think it was like a 40-minute panel. I think you can watch it all on the DICE YouTube channel. They did pretty good about putting all that stuff up. I don't know if it's DICE or official AIAS, maybe Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences.
So is there a show floor that goes with it, or is it
No,
just panels?
It's just panels and roundtables. It's very small. And then at the very end, there's the DICE Awards where they give out various awards for video games. I think really, you know, and a bunch of different places try to do award shows. I think the two that I respect the most are definitely like the DICE Awards and BAFTAs. Well, I think like those are the two most critically acclaimed of all the video game awards.
Like the DICE Awards aren't gunning for like a big watchership, right? Like they're not selling a bunch of ads compared to the other shows.
They're more like prestigious.
Right.
You know, it's luminaries recognizing luminaries sort of thing. I actually presented a DICE Award once. That's
Really?
like one of the first things I did. Yeah, back when I was with Frag Dolls. It was really cool. It was I think it was best action game or best shooter, and I'm pretty sure we gave it to Gears of War.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it? Yeah, that's cool.
It was a great time. It was amazing. I haven't been in the last several years, but whenever I've been to DICE, I spend most of my time speechless and starstruck.
Yeah, and that starstruck is definitely a good way to put it. You know, one morning I showed up. I think it was on what day was it? It was like on Thursday morning or something. I showed up. There's like a little lounge where you get coffee and stuff before session start. I showed up to get coffee, and so it's like there's like a little catering thing. You pour your coffee, make it how you want. And I'm pouring my coffee, and I like just look off to my right, and then I see a couch, and like Kojima's just sitting there. It's like, cool. Then speaking of which, there was a bit of an awkward moment during the awards show.
Yeah.
Where Metal Gear Solid 5 won. What did it win? Best. It won. Load. Best action game? No, here it is. Adventure game of the year was Metal Gear Solid 5. And Kojima was there. He had just accepted an award a little, like, 15 minutes earlier. And I guess Konami had not sent anyone to accept the Metal Gear Solid 5 award. And Kojima didn't accept it. So it was like, the presenters were like,
no one wants it.
Konami's not here to accept it. We'll be sure they get it. And then walk off stage with it.
Super awkward stuff going on with
Kojima?
them. Do you see?
But Kojima
was Todd Howard there?
Todd Howard was there. He gave a presentation. He was a Q&A.
What was that?
He's my favorite. He's my
You're
favorite.
twirling your hair.
He's like my favorite elf/developer.
He did like a Q&A that was moderated or that was led by Pete Holmes. And you got some glitter on you, Ryan.
I got glitter
Come
everywhere.
here. You got. There we go.
There you go. I think you got it. And
Thanks, Meg.
Does Ryan's one shot show all the glitter on his face?
If I do this,
Can we get a close up on Ryan
like,
here?
I'm a disco ball right now.
Camera operator's running over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
they're freaking out. Don't worry about it. No one
we
needs to see
gotta
me
have the
closer.
glitter. Gotta have it.
They're probably getting it enough as it is.
Hopefully
I'm getting it too much.
I'm just hoping they're
as it is.
zooming way in.
Do you know you're not?
Here we go.
do
Look
it.
nice and in.
You can't really see
Can you
it.
see-
No.
Well, you can't see it on this monitor. I'm hoping
You're
that in high
not-
def you will be.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, you're not aware of your face until it's got glitter on it. Then all of a sudden, the amount of face you see in your peripheral,
You notice
it's
it.
all lit up. So thanks.
Do you ever get
You heard
distracted?
it here first. Ryan is lit.
So lit. What?
Do you ever get distracted by your nose?
Not
Just like
until
when you suddenly realize the existence of it and then you can see it at all times.
Now right now it's glittery, so I'm constantly noticing my nose. Like, hey, buddy. Good
When I
to
first
see
got my
you there.
nose pierced, all I could see was my piercing.
Yeah, that's got to be super distracting. Right?
It was pretty crazy.
So yeah, that's new. Got to see.
Yeah, you're like- In fact, I heard one of the reasons that people get a little disoriented in VR is because you're used to having something here that your eyes intentionally forget about, and so having that clear, it's sort of disorienting. I don't know.
Additional-
Which is weird because I mean, there's still a gap there. Like your nose still exists in real life, so it's not like there's
Right, but it's not
extra
being
feedback.
rendered.
Well, there's not extra feedback though. Like
Sure,
that, there's
but
still a
when you-
dead zone there.
But when you have like the goggles and everything, it's more like this. Like you're not
Yeah.
seeing that, and it's pushing the image into both your eyes, so you don't see that space.
It's not giving your brain is not ignoring something.
Right.
It's the absence of something.
Yeah, it's still blank there. It's not like there's now screen where once
Look,
there's
I can't
nose,
deal with
but
this. I need something to ignore.
It's just paint your nose black. That'll get you used to it.
Okay.
It's like it's just not there. I don't think
I don't think that'll work. That's not how it works.
Well, that is kind of how it works
Ryan
with VR
can
because
try
it's
it
just
first.
a dark zone.
It's a lack of anything though.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, no light reflecting. You'd have a dark nose.
Try it. We'll record it, and then we'll do some testing.
There we go. Actually, the nose thing doesn't bother me at all. So I don't know that I would.
Yeah, I
notice
don't
either
think
way.
I've had a problem with that either. But I do want in a little bit want to talk about some
Right,
of
but
the
DICE.
VR stuff.
There's a lot
there
of
any
there's
VR
a lot of
stuff at
VR stuff
DICE?
to talk about.
They had a little VR demo, but there was always people in line for it, and I didn't want to deal with it. So
Which
I didn't
VR was
go
it?
over. I don't know. I didn't get in there. It was like in a separate little room.
Got it.
So I didn't ever get in line there. But Todd Howard was there, and he gave a talk. He talked a lot about Fallout 4, and even teased two things. He teased that there's an Easter egg somewhere in the game that nobody's found, that he's disappointed that it's buried somewhere in a terminal.
Oh God, Todd Howard is disappointed in us.
But then I saw a website, I don't know if it was Polygon, wrote an article saying that
you
maybe
okay?
he was full of
I
shit.
don't know
Hold
if
on, I
I can
think
take
Ashley
it.
needs
I
a
don't know if
moment.
I can take it.
You know?
I can't take his
Do you need to
disappointment.
go play Fallout 4 right now? Just see and find the.
Okay.
Go through every terminal. It's okay.
And he
Don't
al-
worry. Now that you said that, some
guys
hacker will just
help
bring out
us.
the.
Yeah.
Please.
And he also mentioned that Bethesda's working on, I think, 3 new things, unlike anything they've ever worked on before.
Yeah, like 3, not like new games, right? Like totally new properties, new
Like
crazy
IP.
stuff.
Well, he didn't really specify.
Yeah, he was very vague about it. The only thing that was solid was 3.
Of course, he was.
Could be like a
tease.
card game.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy about that? I
Bethesda
mean,
working on new stuff. I am. I
That-
mean, they've been. They're obviously their biggest IPs, as far as I'm concerned, are Fallout and Elder Scrolls. They do Doom, and they do a couple of other games as well.
That's
they
still
did.
more of an id
they
thing.
published
Yeah.
they published Evil Within.
I hope it's Brink.
That's not totally new though. So maybe we
It's
want them to
also
work on
totally
old
not a
stuff.
good joke either.
well, I mean,
So I'd be interested in seeing other cool stuff they do, because they bought Fallout, but Elder Scrolls was originally their IP, wasn't it? And
I think so.
so if they can
I don't
develop
know.
like something else that I love as much as Elder Scrolls, I'm on board.
But if they're working on those other things, that seems to imply that they're not working on a Fallout 5 or a new Elder Scrolls open world type game.
I would imagine they've got to have. But he didn't say that's the only things they're working on.
How many things could they be working on at the same time?
I don't
Unless
know.
They just keep hiring more people.
Their teams are typically pretty small. That's one of their trademarks.
But maybe they've got all those developers that were working on Elder Scrolls Online. They need to do something with now.
A lot of leftover people from
Yeah,
projects that didn't go.
you move people around from project to project. If they're ramping down on that, they've ramped off of Fallout, so they've got to be working on all new stuff. Depending on what level of development, like what place they're in, they could just like roll from thing to thing to thing, like in a big gang.
Like in a big gang? Is it like the Jets and the other ones against the Jets?
Sharks?
Yeah.
Was it? People are laughing.
When
Yeah,
you're
got
a tunnel
thumbs up.
snake, you're a tunnel snake.
Um,
Okay, that didn't
yeah,
work
but
out
I mean,
very well.
I still would. I've never been the world's biggest like Elder Scrolls fan. For some reason, I love RPGs, but those games have never caught me. It's almost like they're too big. Sometimes I get intimidated by open world stuff. Like I love GTA 5 and I played it. I love GTA 3 and played it, but 4 never grabbed me. Like I'm really weird about open world games. And
Which is
I realize
weird
that's my
because
own
that's
thing.
life, right? Like, do you just get terrified when you step outside the house?
Yeah,
or,
of course.
Like, what do I do? There's so many
There's
options.
a giant fireball in the sky.
I feel you. I love open world games, but I'm super inconsistent
like-
about which ones I even consider to play.
Sometimes I get overwhelmed by the number of quests. Like that's what happened to me in Skyrim. It's just like there's so many quests that after a while I just start focusing on story just to get through that as quickly as possible.
Well, that was actually a major thing this week is all the reviews for Far Cry Primal hit. And there was one review in particular that criticized the game for having too many side quests and too many collectibles and things like that, which I've never heard of as a complaint before. I thought that's kind of like the whole point of Far Cry was to do everything but the main story, do the collectibles, go and claim all the bases or whatever. So
Well-
I find that to be a very interesting criticism. But as someone who's played a lot more of it, what do you think about that?
The way that they do all that side quest stuff lends itself to that feeling because they do it kind of badly. The way a lot of those work is there'll be a thing on the map that's a type of a quest, like a beast hunt, and have a question mark on it. And you go to that, and you talk to somebody, and he's like, okay, there's a bunch of dingoes killing people down by a lake. And that's the end of that conversation. Now you have another thing on your map that's the place where the actual mission is. And it took me a while to actually figure out that was what was happening. I thought I was like, well, am I just failing these? Because I'm going to talk to the guy, and then there's no follow-up. It's not like it directs you to that other location. You have to open your map and like, oh, look, now there's one down there that doesn't have a question mark on it. And a lot of the main story missions work that way, too. It's like, go talk to this guy, and then you get another blip over there, but it's not like you're not driven that direction in
All
any
right,
way.
so it just doesn't really update your objectives very well.
It doesn't. Those quests don't become quest-like. It's like you talk to this guy for no reason other than he's going to tell you something's going down over there, and then you have to go over there and actually do the thing.
So just kind of more of a roundabout, out of the way.
It makes you
way of
walk
doing
somewhere
it.
that is completely unrelated, because a lot of times it's not even like close to where you pick up the first part of it. For those reasons, those kinds of quests, it makes no sense for it to be spread out like that. I don't need to go to a guy in the hills to find out that there's a problem by the lake. But aside from that, I mean, it's not an unreasonable amount of things to do. Like this, the world feels like it's populated with stuff going on. Now there are, aside from the ones like, okay, there's the outpost quests, there's the like beast hunts, there's the several like pop-up events like
Is the Beast
rescuing
Hunts
people.
Is the Beast
or-
Hunts the mini Pokemon game?
Is it a mini Pokemon game?
The one where you tame all the animals?
No.
Capture
This
them
one,
so
it's
then
like
they fight for you?
there's a bunch of like marmosets attacking a village. Go take out all the marmosets.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there was that video Polygon posted of the guy reviewing all of the pets in in Far Cry Primal, which was really fucking funny.
They're pretty. I mean, they're all pretty much the same. I gotta be honest. Like some of them are slightly stealthier, some of them are slightly stronger. You can get them all really fast. The unlock system in that game is very strange because a lot of your skills and crafting abilities are based on going out in the world and getting people. Like you need to get a guy, and that's the guy that'll teach you how to make, or you get you like grappling hooks and craft more things, and has a lot of crafting skills, which makes sense, I guess, if you were
So
like
he
applying.
teaches you.
I mean, it's not like you go to him for guidance. It's just like, oh, now he lives in your village. That menu's open now.
It's like he's making it for you.
Yeah, I guess.
It's just shortcutting it.
Sure. It's just, I don't know, kind of odd. It's like,
Hey,
all right.
find craftsmen to make stuff for you.
I
It's
mean,
not
that makes
odd.
sense, but in a game sense, it's weird. It's unusual to, and you can see them all. It's like, well, there's a grayed out thing where I need to get that guy. He's way up there in the map, so I'll get around to walking.
Sounds like
up
your
there.
chief complaint is having to move around the map.
Well, one of the I don't think it's a later skill. Like everything I feel like I've been able to unlock everything pretty much at my own pace and very rapidly. Skill points have been pretty much flowing freely, and to get to those people is pretty much you just go to them. They'll give you one quest. You do that, and then they'll come back to your village. Then you build them a hut. There is a skill for actually riding certain animals.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that gets you around faster, but then, it's got fast travel. So once you get within a certain range, it's not too bad to walk.
I still haven't played Primal. Did that just come out today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Okay, I still
But
haven't picked it up.
it doesn't hit PC until next week, though.
Ugh, got something in my throat. Yeah, that seems like a. I was a huge fan of Far Cry 3. Far Cry 4 never really grabbed me. I don't know, something. Again, it's that whole open world thing for me. I think I got overwhelmed by quests and this ended up stopping.
This may feel this is probably as bad or worse than Far Cry 4.
In terms of overall scale.
Just every 10 feet there's stuff. I mean, as you walk your way across the map, there's just stuff to do constantly.
So I overheard you and Michael talking earlier about how now there's an option to get rid of the looting animation.
that was one of my favorite finds in the game, was that you can now turn off any loot animation. So
Which
any
includes
collection, skinning, searching, gathering resources. Like if you're just walking by and it's still got like leaves and branches and rocks. Now you can pretty much just keep running. You don't even have to stop. I just walk by it holding X and I loot whatever it is without even slowing down.
One thing I always wished I could skip was the skinning animation in Red Dead Redemption. Every single
It gets
time.
so old, yeah. And thankfully, you can now. It's gone.
That's great.
I turned it off almost immediately. But, I mean, I think I mentioned in the review for the was it is pretty much exactly, all the negative things that people say about it in most of the reviews are pretty dead on. Like, yeah, the main story is pretty...
Miff.
Well, even to this, it's kind of random where it's like the big bad guy. You encounter him. He walks up to your village. He's like, "I'm gonna fight you," and you just walk out to meet him by yourself. He headbutts you, throws you on the ground, and then walks off. And then 10 minutes later, the rest of his tribe attack your village. And at the end of you kill all those guys, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the big guy, he just left."
You
Yeah,
bored him. You
he's
weren't
out.
enough of a challenge.
He went up north. It's like,
What?
why was he there to begin with if he wasn't going to take part in the battle? Or
Well, for the headbutts, right?
I guess.
The
And why
headbutts.
did no one come out? And I have a whole team of people back there. It's like from here to the camera. I mean, they could have shot him with an arrow.
I don't know. It's
They all
kinda
have
far.
bows.
It's
all the way over
technically too
there.
close for an arrow, I think.
That's how it feels. It's like, oh, okay, well, everybody there got lazy and let them headbutt me.
They're like, I don't want to use my good arrows.
I mean, look, I would let him headbutt you all day long. I would stand over there and go, he looks like an asshole.
Look at that asshole. Oh, Beastmaster, not so great now.
Maybe they'll
His
get
ass
the
in
glitter off of
mud.
his face.
But I mean, that aside, I'm still actually kind of enjoying it. Like I like the kind of stealth approaches to things. Like, can you sneak up on the village? Can you do it completely without raising alarm? That's still there. Very similar to 3 and 4, where there are 15 outposts that you can take whatever way you choose to do so.
Yeah, I think that was one of the other deal breakers for me in 4. Was I love that whole like surveying an outpost, marking everyone. There was that one enemy type that you couldn't mark, and I was like, this is not the way I play the game.
Really, that puts
So you were
off.
just out.
Yeah, I was like, I can't deal with this.
Wow, that's all it took.
I forget what they were. Hunters, I think was the class.
Something like that. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
They were the ones that could like kind of ghost around.
Right.
I haven't encountered one like that in Primal yet.
Okay, good. That's a big deal for me.
I'm not even entirely sure how big the map is. I feel like I've unlocked a fair bit of it, but it could be much larger. You can kind of zoom out and look around, but I'm not exactly sure where the defined edge of it is.
Or what the scale is.
Yeah.
Here, let me read this. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Marvel Avengers Academy. TinyCo's latest mobile title, Marvel Avengers Academy, is out now. Experience the Marvel Avengers as you've never seen them before. Build the ultimate superhero academy and play as your favorite Avengers characters reimagined as students developing their superpowers. Featuring hundreds of characters from across Avengers history in their formative years, Marvel Avengers Academies will take you on exciting and explosive adventures that Marvel fans have never seen before. Marvel Avengers Academy is also running a mascot contest to allow players to vote for a mascot to represent the Academy. The winning mascot will be gifted to all players as a decoration at the end of the contest, plus a premium in-game character, Super Iron Man, voiced by Dave Franco, will be distributed amongst the winning influencers fans base for free. 6 YouTubers, including Rooster Teeth, are participating in the mascot contest. Our mascot is the Ultimates. So download the game at the link on screen or right there below, and vote for the Ultimates to be the winning mascot. Your chance to vote comes at the end of the first quest in the game. Voting ends this Friday, February 26th, and let me tell you, we're getting our asses kicked.
By who?
Seriously?
Everyone. We are in last place. I feel like you all have let me down.
Oh, come on, guys.
We have 7% of the vote.
You failed the Gus.
7%.
Yeah. So if you have a chance, download it. It's a free game. Just vote for the Ultimates.
Maybe the other people are more popular, though. Maybe we
might.
should go look at them.
They might be.
We should vote for the
I
other
voted
teams.
for them too.
Okay, good.
No, I didn't. I totally voted for the Ultimates.
Sure.
That's the one that you're in, right?
I am the voice of Hawkeye.
Is that weird?
You want to give us a little,
I'm
give
not.
us a little taste?
I haven't been patched into the game yet. I just recorded the audio like 2 weeks ago.
Can you give us a demo?
I don't want to spoil it. You'll have to see. You'll have to see it in game.
Well, okay.
So people have sent me screenshots. I guess.
Gus doesn't take his voice out just for anybody.
Yeah.
It's like Vin Diesel with his pecs.
No, he'll take those out for anybody.
No. He only takes those
It
out.
was his biceps, I thought.
Oh, is it biceps?
Yeah.
Sorry. So he'll do the pecs, but not the biceps.
I have no idea. I just
He
thought
just,
they
like,
were.
rips away the
I
front of
thought
the
Vin
shirt.
Diesel was all out all the time.
No. He only brings those out for Riddick movies.
Yeah.
My bad.
I forgot what movie did that come from? Like there was a
remember.
negotiation for one movie where they wanted him to show his muscles and he
Probably
didn't.
Iron Giant.
Triple X.
No.
It probably was a triple X. Did he come back? Like he?
Yeah, they
offed him and then
Meg
he-
was telling me that there was an extra on one of the DVDs after he refused to come back where they like killed him off horribly, and then he was like, I'd come back for another movie, and suddenly they're like, that's not canon. He's alive again. Super weird.
Look,
I don't-
it wasn't really him. It was just some other guy.
It was a spy movie, right? It's like it was
Yeah.
a clone.
He faked
Or-
his death.
It's a double agent.
Do you guys remember that horrific spy movie, was X versus Sever?
Oh,
It
that was a
actually-
video game.
It was based on a
Yeah.
game. It was. It
Really?
came out. Oh yeah, I'm gonna look this up. It came
Was
out
that
years
Lucy
and
Liu
years
and
ago.
Antonio Banderas?
It was.
Was it Antonio Banderas? I was
think it
wondering who the
was.
guy was. Yeah.
It had a
X
great poster, but I never watched it because it. had
versus
such
Sever. Yeah, it was
awful
a Game
reviews.
Boy game.
I saw it for free.
The movie was Ballistic X versus Sever.
Ballistic.
They were giving tickets away in the Austin Chronicle. Like you could go see the movie for free.
You found him like on top of a dumpster.
Yeah,
right?
I just went and
Like, just grab it.
and saw the movie for free. If you read the Chronicle, there's a lot of movies that you can watch for free. You just have to go like get in line.
Uh-oh.
It's been called one of the worst movies ever made, and at the box office, it made $19.9 million on a $70 million budget.
Yeah, well,
I'm pretty sure I owned the DVD though. I love terrible movies, and that one was right up
Wow.
my alley.
I
Also, just for the record, loved Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet.
That horrific
Yeah.
movie with the chick that plays
Lulu Dallas?
yes.
Yeah.
Mila
Mila
Jovovich.
Jovovich.
Yes, where she's like a vampire or something, and it was in
I've
the
seen
era
that
like Oblivion, where Bloom was the thing, and it was turned all the way up to max, and then they doubled it.
double the max.
Double the max. They took it, doubled, like maxed it, and they were like, let's do it again, and
more.
like layered another Bloom
This is
on
like one
top
of
of
those
it.
quad HD things, right?
It
Where
was
it's 4K. It's actually 4
ridiculous.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. What were we talking about?
Video games.
Yeah, we were talking about
Oh,
video
look,
games.
X vs. Sever was
Oh,
totally a video game.
Primal. We were talking about Primal.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I've been tied up still with XCOM 2.
Yeah, how you
that
liking
game,
it?
That game, it's fun, but it's fucking hard, man.
You think so?
I'm stuck on a mission right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. It was like one of those missions that's rated difficult. All of my good players, all of my good soldiers are incapacitated. I'm like with a bunch of rookies out there, and it's just like, I don't know what I'm going to. I think I've been on this mission for like a week now.
They beat
It's
you up in
killing
that
me.
game with wounding
Yeah.
soldiers because it used to be in the last XCOM, in Enemy Unknown and in Enemy Within, if you had armor on them, as long as the armor took the damage, they had like their own health. That was like the last 5 blocks, and those were fine. So as long as you didn't get to that, they weren't injured. Now, if they stub their toe, it can't even go to like seriously wounded or gravely wounded off of just a single or 2 health block off the top. Mm-hmm. So you lose soldiers and you have to rotate them through.
And
a
then
lot
also,
more.
if they get wounded several times, then they become shaken and they lose will, which makes them more susceptible to mind control and attacks from sectoids.
they go to
And-
0 will.
Yeah, and you need the only way to repair that is to have them do well in combat. So it's like they're shaken, they're not going to be very good at combat, and you need to send them out, and they need to do good in order to recover.
Thankfully, it doesn't mess with their aim, and what you have to actually do is they have to kill somebody in a mission without being hurt.
Okay.
That's how you get them back. But once that happens, their will is they come back with a stronger will than before.
Right.
So, that's like that time you hurt yourself and
I'm
you're like,
back and better
I'm
than
stronger
ever."
than ever.
The patch set. This is where the
Hey,
recording patch is
yeah,
pretty cool.
guys, yeah.
What's up?
Cameo.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're not recording, we're streaming. Shows how much they know.
Aren't we recording the stream?
Shut up.
No.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
But yeah, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. Right now, I'm in the middle of. So now I'm reduced to this stage where, like I said, I'm doing this mission with all rookies, and I've figured out there's 3 different groups of enemies I need to kill. I've killed the first 2 groups, and there's just 1 group left,
Uh-huh.
and everyone's down to like 1 health, and it's just like, how am I going to get these 4 people through killing the last 3 without
How
them
did you
dying?
get into such dire straits?
Health potions. Duh.
You have those?
out of medikits.
No
What?
medkits?
Yeah, I'm like, I got nothing. My grenades are all gone.
Do you have a healer?
Yeah, but he's out of medkits.
Gotta have the medkits.
My
What
good.
about sutures? Does he have sutures?
There are no sutures. My good specialist
Staples?
with
Band-Aids?
the healing gremlin is gone. Well, he's incapacitated. So
Okay.
it's like I've got like a rookie, or I guess a squatty specialist whose gremlin can't even heal.
So you were basically out of medkits before you started.
Yeah, I am in bad shape. I almost made it last night, but then a muton fucking destroyed me.
If you fail, can you try it again?
That's what I'm doing. I just keep reloading a save.
Okay.
No,
Try to
yeah,
get
if you
through
fail
it
the
again.
mission and just continue, then you're done. Like that mission
I see.
was a failure.
So he has to load
lost
it.
those
You have to load
guys.
it from within the mission, so you're dealing with the same group of players in the
I
same
could
situation.
I
every
could
time.
reload the whole scenario, but I feel like where I'm at now is as good as I can possibly do. Like
They also
this is it.
they've got it in there's a mode that you can turn on if you do like a custom game type where it will re-roll, but by default it does not. Is what I understand.
Will
So
re-roll? What do you mean?
So if you reload from the save and try and make the same shot, if you failed the first time, you're going to fail forever.
That's not necessarily true.
It is true.
No, I swear in
If you change any variable, that may work out differently. Like if you move them to a different spot or if you do something else. But if you do the exact same action the exact same way, it will have the exact same result.
I feel
Okay,
like I've been
so all you have to do is you have to edge it tomorrow that shit.
yeah. That's basically what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I feel like I've been in a scenario where
that's true.
the aliens moved into a certain position. I countered by moving my people into a certain position, fired, missed, reloaded the save. They moved. Maybe not everyone moved the same, but the target and the shooter moved, and then the shooter was able to make a shot the second time.
I'm going to double check this, but it's definitely an option you can turn on. And I think it only applies to, obviously, it can't predict the entire future of the game. So it only applies to things like if you reload one move back and just try and make the exact same shot.
Yeah, maybe there were some other variables that were slightly changed in the scenario that I'm not aware of or that I wasn't thinking of at the time.
It doesn't take much, I think, to make it a different result. But if you do the exact same action, like if you just save and try and hack over and over again, it's never going to work.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that was not what happened. It was there were some variables to it then.
I mean, you've been throwing a lot of time at it. I've seen you playing it a lot on Steam. Like every time I'm on my PC, it comes up. It's like, "Gus is playing XCOM 2."
I think 22 hours in.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not anywhere near finishing it. I think if you look up on how long to beat, it's like a 23 or 24-hour game, and I'm not near the end. I just keep reloading stuff that's all fucked up.
Yeah, I really like How Long to Beat, but I have to take its estimates and then add a ton of time for me, because I seem to play games way slower than average.
Save scumming, that's what it's called.
Save scumming.
Yeah.
All right.
Saving scum.
The other thing I've been playing besides that is last night I finally downloaded. I got so frustrated with the XCOM mission. I was like, I gotta play something else. So I downloaded and started playing Firewatch, which is
Did you ever finish it?
No, we've only done that one Let's Watch so far.
I'm not done with it. I think I'm most of the way done. Just it ended up getting late, and I stopped playing.
Well, when you finish it, I would love to have more discussion with you about it. We talked about it last week at the end of the patch. We saved it to the very end so we could discuss a couple of spoilers. We saved some details for Ryan since he hasn't finished it, but clearly I have a very, very different opinion about the game than a lot of people.
I'm really liking it so far. Obviously, I'm not done with it, so I don't know, but it's definitely very. How can you say, very light on the gameplay. It seems almost more atmospheric, like walking around and, just like, even though the whole disposable camera thing, just like finding cool stuff to look at and taking photos.
Because they're the ones that will send you a physical photo of whatever you take pictures of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very cool thing.
And I was reading the story also on Polygon that they published the other day, I think it was on Sunday, saying, when you find this is really early in the game, this is not a spoiler at all, when you find the teenagers in the beach that are skinny dipping, that, the boombox is playing a song. That I guess that's a fairly new song. It only came out fairly recently. Here it is. It came out fairly recently, but the band that made it intentionally made it like an 80s style pop song. It's like an homage to 80s pop.
Like that sort of one-hit wonder.
Right.
80s. There were so many of those in the 80s.
And so you can listen to it. I think the song is called Push Play by a band called Cheap Talk.
And they've got it up on SoundCloud, I believe.
Yeah,
so that's actually pretty cool.
I was just going to say, so that's what happens if you don't throw their shit in the lake.
I didn't throw their stuff in the lake. They just called me a
boombox
pervert.
in the lake.
They just called me a pervert.
Well, you're a pervert. You're spying on
rude.
two, naked teens skinny dipping.
They weren't supposed to be naked. Those bitches were setting off fireworks. It's a fire hazard.
And drinking.
And drinking underage.
That's why I confiscated all their liquor and
really
fireworks.
Bad
and
about
underwear.
Something.
Didn't you?
What?
I didn't realize you could clean up their
cans.
aluminum cans until like much later when I got to like the utility pole. Then I was like, oh man, I left all those other cans out.
I spent so much time cleaning up those cans.
Right. I was like, I should have picked them
up. I didn't realize that you could do that until I had literally gone through and chucked everything in their camp into the fire. I was like, oh crap. And I had to like walk through it and just kick them out of the fire before it would let me pick them up. By the way, jumping back, yes. You doing things in the same action, the same order for XCOM 2 will have the same outcomes. But it is possible to change things if you just change the order of things that you do. So if you do it in a different order, you may get a different result. If you do the exact same thing over and over again, like if you save right before a shot, it's always going to have the same result.
Okay, yeah, in that case, that makes sense for what I experienced. Right. Okay.
And in second wave, you can actually, or whatever the XCOM 2 version of it is, you can turn it so it's always a fresh roll.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think that, because that just encourages, I'm sure that's why they do it, is that just encourages you saving before every shot and then reloading if you don't like the outcome.
Right.
Which, I don't know. That's somehow different in my head than what I'm doing.
But it could be super helpful for you right now.
It could be super helpful for me right now.
Uh-huh.
And to make matters worse is, this is one of those missions where, the one where I'm stuck, where you're trying to intercept supplies. So there's like parts of the map you can't blow up, or you have to be careful not to destroy. So it's a fucking nightmare.
I don't know. That might get you out of the situation. Just blow all that shit up, and maybe the mission will end.
Right, but I'm trying to succeed. I want that stuff, and I want to kill the aliens.
You got a bunch of dead rookies on your hand, is what I'm hearing.
And one squatty.
And one squatty. You might as well just try and get them out of there if you can.
Yeah, it's not. I've even gone back and I've tried to restart the mission with like different combinations of characters, and it's not going well.
It actually was an interesting experience when we did the Let's Watch in it, because so often I am so like scared of new units. Like, you'll run into something that you've never seen before. It's like, well, I got to kill that with everybody I got.
Yeah.
And I'll do that, and I realized at a certain point that there are some enemies in the game that I've never actually seen attack. Like
what?
Whenever I see them, like the gatekeeper.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I kill those immediately.
You
if
just
I see them.
see something new and just dog.
And I kill the shit out of
Those
it.
things are really annoying. That's probably my least favorite enemy type in the game. You have not seen them attack?
Well, I have now, because
Okay.
later in the game I figured out I could, or it was certain characters will be able to like mind control them.
Mm-hmm.
So I took one over and I've used it to attack, but I never actually got attacked by it.
Yeah, they have that AoE field that basically unloads everyone's gun, and then if you stay in there one round, it blows up.
No, that's the little cipher guys.
Oh, that's not a gatekeeper?
No, the gatekeeper's a big orb thing.
Oh, I haven't gotten that far then.
Okay.
Yeah, even though I'm like 22
Well, when
hours
you
in,
see 'em,
I'm still really early in the game.
kill 'em.
Okay.
Because they actually have an ability where it's another AoE attack, but anything that dies in it comes back as a Psy zombie.
Oh, I hate Psy zombies. Because it feels like such a waste shooting them. Like, you're wasting turns. You should just be shooting the sectoid
Yeah.
to end the Psy zombie takeover.
I don't know if you've had it happen yet, but we also discovered in that Let's Watch that they can resurrect your dead players.
Yep, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
That's like an extra fuck you.
Yeah, no, it was great because I think Gavin was the first to die, and it resurrected Gavin's character. We did it by everybody controlled one character, essentially. And Gavin's was the first to die, and then he got resurrected and tried to kill Michael. So it worked out so amazing.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
It's true to life.
it really was, yeah.
Have
Not
you,
to spoil that video if you haven't watched it, but you should watch it. It was actually really good.
have either of you guys played Unravel?
I haven't played it yet.
So that came out, I guess, that came out on the 9th, so it's been out for a couple
Couple
weeks
weeks,
now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. That was one of the games coming out of E3 that I thought looked amazing. I thought Yarning was the cutest shit ever. And then it sort of went quiet, and then the game was out, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, I've played Unravel. I was like, what? Wait, what? When did it come out? And apparently you guys released a ton of achievement guides in it.
Yeah, I saw Jeremy play a lot of it, so I've watched him play.
But yeah, I somehow missed it. I think I might have lost the actual release in everyone talking about Firewatch.
Yeah, it was around that time.
But either way, I ended up playing it over the weekend. I really enjoyed it. It's when you saw the E3 trailer, it was like it's a cute little side scroller with as a dude with yarn, and it's beautiful.
It looks.
Yes,
It makes me
yeah, it's
think
absolutely
of
gorgeous.
Little Big Planet and Yoshi's Woolly World, like combined into one.
Yeah, it's got a really cool aesthetic in the way that it plays with scale. Because you're just this tiny little dude, and everything is huge, and so all these everyday objects take on a lot more significance. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's bad. Like, crows can bite me because they're all
Crows can bite me.
But you end up making your way through the super ordinary world, but it seems extraordinary because everything is just huge. And the challenge actually of getting from checkpoint to checkpoint, because you only have a certain amount of yarn.
Of your body.
Yeah.
That you're
like
unspooling.
otherwise, like you run out and you get stuck and you can't get to the next checkpoint. You have to backtrack and collect more of your yarn and find a more efficient way to do it and then get to the objective.
It's an interesting mechanic.
It is. It's something that I haven't really seen done before, and that made it unique, which is good because a lot of the puzzles were a little bit repetitive after a while. They're really cool the first time, and then you go, oh, now every time I see this, I know that this type of puzzle is coming up, and so push the rocks or the apples or whatever it is this time.
One of the things that from the visuals and just from what I've seen over Jeremy's shoulder that they did that was really cool was it's a 2D side scroller essentially, but they really have a lot of depth. Like they play with the depth of field. Even you saw a minute ago, like you come by the fence, and the fence you've got that zone where it's perfectly in focus, and then way out in the distance
Right.
you've got it. It feels so much more natural looking than a lot of other 2D type things that just don't ever come out of the screen to
Right.
you.
Yeah, and that actually comes into play too. There's one point where I think it's and they showed it in the announcement trailer, but I don't think the gameplay I captured had it, where you're going along through an open field and you're trying to avoid getting attacked by crows, and one is about to dive you because you see it very blurry in the distance and
Oh,
suddenly
that's
getting
cool.
bigger and closer and more in focus. And so they come, like other things and objects will come at you out of that distance. Cars too. At one point you're crossing a road and
Come at me,
cars
crows.
drive over. So it's a cute game. There were a couple of minor frustrations in the repetitiveness of the puzzles, and also I feel like the announced trailer pulled a movie trailer on me and put some of the best parts of it in that trailer. So a lot of the really cool stuff that happens, it all happens in the game. There's one point where you're on a little boat and you basically rope a fish and it carries you along. But all of those are the highlights of stuff that happens. And they leave all the mundane stuff out. So it ends up like that trailer was a highlight reel of the game.
That's a shame.
You know, I still think it's worth playing.
What platform did you play it on?
I played it on PC.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so there we go with them coming out of the distance.
That's cool.
And I played it on PC, but it's also on PS4 and Xbox One. That was another thing is initially, I think because they presented it at a Sony conference, I had this weird thing in my head of thinking that this game was a PlayStation exclusive, and it's not. So I played it on PC. I had to install Origin on my new PC, and I was kind of sulky the whole time. I was like, oh, it's on PC. Went to Steam, not there.
Not there. Yeah.
Had to install Origin.
Yeah, I played Firewatch on my PC using the Steam Link on my TV, and I think that's like the perfect use for it. It's not like a twitchy, first-person shooter, and still it looks beautiful. I'm really liking that Steam Link.
Yeah, Steam Link's sweet. I really like it for playing games on the treadmill too. It's nice.
I want a Steam Link that'll work with the Vive, though. It's gotta. It's gonna be hard to do.
What do you
that
mean?
Well, I want a device where I can have a Vive in a different room from my main computer.
That's going to be, that might be also like
I
a
see.
wireless bandwidth issue.
It's
Yeah.
it's going to be a
could see.
latency issue. Even if it's
yeah.
hardwired,
Yeah.
that's going to be hard to do. But that's what I'm hoping we get to at some point.
It's
'Cause
almost
I
like
don't know.
if you could. A possible solution. It's not an elegant solution, but a possible solution would be like USB over Cat5, where you like wire Cat5 to your room and then like tunnel all
Just
of your
have
USB, over Cat5 back to your computer that then transfers back from Cat5 to USB.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
You
be like
could
the
do
only
it.
way to do it.
It's, the problem with VR is already the persistence of vision and the responsiveness has to be so sharp to stop you from just vomiting over everything in your room that any delay imparted in even wire transition could potentially make it feel icky.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
There's
That stuff's normally
that's
really
low enough
fast,
latency
but
that you're probably okay. But
but still making the transition from one format to another, I didn't think about.
I would say you'd probably have to do HDMI, an actual in-wall HDMI and USB.
Yeah, but even when you do that, like HDMI transfer distance is very limited.
Yeah, all
Like your
those
maximum
cables
cable
have to be
length-
pretty short,
Yeah,
right?
it would not
Yeah.
be very far. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was on the subject of Vive, though. They announced the price at $800.
Let me read this.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll
Great.
talk about Vive. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by Squarespace. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of The Patch. I just said that. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter offer code PATCH at checkout and get 10% off. With Squarespace, you can build sites that look professionally designed, regardless of skill level, no coding required. They offer intuitive, easy-to-use tools to help along the way, and you get a free domain name if you sign up for a year. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use offer code PATCH to get 10% off your first purchase. Squarespace, build it beautiful. You could build a Vive fan website or whatever you want. Just go out there and make a website. It's super easy to use. Basically, it's just drag and drop for all your website design. But anyway, getting back to the Vive. So yeah, they announced pricing at $799.
And they announced everything it's coming with, too. So it comes with 2 of the hand motion controllers, which might be the big reason it costs $200 more than Oculus Rift, because Rift does not.
And the lighthouses.
Well, the lighthouses are essentially, I mean, the Rift comes with its own. I'm not going to say lighthouse. They work out two different, very very different principles in that the Rift has the offloads the tracking to the sensor. So the Rift has a sensor as well that sits on your desk, whereas the Vive has the sensors in the headset, and they look out and see the two lighthouses. So the lighthouses are dumb when it comes to like the Vive hardware, but you get two of the lighthouse stations, which are just filling your room full of IR. Basically, and then the two controllers, and then the headset with the camera, which is another kind of difference from the Rift.
I feel like people were not nearly as upset about this price point announcement. Maybe they were expecting, maybe the Oculus had primed them for stuff to be expensive, but people were up in arms about the Oculus price, and I didn't really hear as much outrage about the Vive.
I mean, I was definitely initially shocked by the Oculus price because I thought that they would try to hit a lower price point to drive more adoption, which they're clearly not going for in this case. And so that's when you get that sort of slippery slope where you're like, well, 600, I guess 800 is only 200 more than that.
Oh, God,
And
that's a lot of money.
It's so much money. But you also look at like, well, with Oculus, if I was going to buy the Oculus Touch controllers when that comes out, that would probably make it equal. And so I don't feel like in the end, operationally speaking, it's going to cost that much more. They demand almost the same hardware requirements. I think the Oculus wants 4 gigabytes more of RAM, but
realistically,
that's not asking much.
I mean, I would argue, though, that they are shooting a low price point for Oculus. I think they're probably cutting it pretty close to cost to get it out there. It's not cheap to make what they made. Your phone is a $800 to $1,000 piece of hardware. And this is basically the same screen or higher resolution screen and all the tracking technology and software that goes into it. So while your phone can make calls, this is also a very high-tech device that you're putting on your face.
Well, and it's a first-generation thing, so early adopters always get hit with that sort of thing.
Economies of scale should drive it down in the future as they make more and get bigger orders. You think since Oculus is owned by Facebook that they'd have some kind of deal where you could agree to let Oculus post to your Facebook timeline in exchange for $50 off the price?
You want to do it like the Amazon Fire, like the tablet, where
right.
you can get a lower cost version if you're okay with them showing ads on your tablet.
Right. Yeah, same kind of thing, but you got like Facebook ads inside of your games or things like that.
I absolutely paid more on my Kindle to not get ads on it.
Ah, man, whatever. It's just a lock screen.
Nope.
I'll take that $20-$30 off.
Nope. Did not want. But the Vive seems like it's got a lot of really cool stuff going on, and it's also launching like early April, so it's
early April.
Not more than a few weeks off people who are getting the first shipment of Rifts.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people who were planning on getting Rifts, but with their back ordered out to June, might just say fuck it and get a Vive if they can get it early.
I mean, they're very compatible. They're very comparable platforms. Several things that you can get. It's kind of a weird question right now, but basically both devices can run off the OpenVR standard. That doesn't mean there can't be exclusives. Like things that run on Steam VR, I think will have to go through the OpenVR standard. So things that are on that ecosystem may work on both devices, though not necessarily supported by both devices in terms of control input. But there will definitely be the Oculus exclusive titles if they're using the Oculus SDK. That being said, I think it's very easy to port one to the other. They're not that exclusive. So you could they've been able to, things like VorpX has been able to inject Oculus control into non-VR games, period. I wouldn't think it'd be that difficult.
Yeah.
Are we going to enter, will this hopefully avoid issues like we had when 3D cards first became standard, when it's like, oh, you need a 3D FX card to play this game, or, oh, this works on OpenGL, this one works on Direct3D.
Right, because in the beginning, those ones were very much at odds.
Right.
I'm pretty sure one of my first cards was an OpenGL only card, and so there were games that it just wouldn't play.
DirectX. Yeah, we hope. I mean, there's going to be some standouts that are, well, I mean, if nothing else, just the control input here at the beginning is going to set a real difference between the two. Also, the side things that you can do with it. So I've not seen really any social implementation of the Vive yet. Like, there are things like Altspace VR and Janus VR that say they're going to support it, but I can't play with it yet. The other thing that really sets the two apart in my mind is this notion of room scale VR is a big thing, but it's also occasionally inconvenient. having it set up in your house, a lot of times I feel like the Oculus is much easier to sit down at my computer if I want to do something and interact with than the Vive is, because just the nature of how my house is set up and how a lot of people's houses are set up, if they're not going to completely remake their life to support a VR headset, it's a little bit harder to get a good setup for both sitting and standing.
Yeah, I was joking earlier, we were looking at some of these headsets, that how long is it until someone makes a peripheral that's like that arm at the car wash that manages the what do you call it? The hose.
Yeah.
So it's just like above you, you put it in your ceiling, and it just like it's the arm that follows you around and keeps the cords off of the ground and keeps it so you don't trip on it.
I can't wait until they're wireless. I think that'll be
That's the latency
nice future time.
barrier again, is once they can break that.
Someday.
And battery.
Well, yeah. Batteries for everything, though. I keep seeing mobile manufacturers. I think ARM said it, and now Samsung is going for it with their Galaxy S7, where they're all trying to push. They're trying to like appeal to hardcore gamers, and ARM thinks that VR is where mobile games can do it. And after making those comments, a lot of people were like, "Oh, we have no desire to play, Flappy Bird in VR." And it's like I don't think that's what that is. Like they actually want to get hardcore games, but use, like Samsung Gear VR, where it becomes the goggles, and you use a normal controller and you play normal games, all kinds of stuff. But because mobile phones are going to have more raw horsepower than the current generation of consoles by the end of probably next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, mobile devices iterate much more frequently. You have a new mobile device every year, or maybe even less, whereas a console you look at, it's 7 years old. By the time the 360 and the PS3 reached into their life, they were shiny bits of hardware at the beginning, then by the end you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this still has this old piece of crap in it.
Yeah, although I was continually impressed with how hard developers managed to squeeze those consoles by the end. They got every little resource out of them. But, it is inevitable that newer technology, even with a mobile, will eventually be more powerful than consoles. But I do find it interesting that that's where they think they can get hardcore gamers, is as a VR goggle. Although they're going to have to do something about storage, and they're going to have to do something about battery in order for them to be any good.
Battery, right? It's always the same complaint. But it makes me wonder, like, you're talking about all this horsepower in mobile devices, right? It makes me think back to the early PS3 launch stuff, talking about like cell architecture and how it would be cool if you could harness that power somehow, like have your own basically home cloud of computing where your phone chips in, your console chips in, your TV chips in, like everything has various processing, so you have like a pool of processors that can drive, a VR headset.
I just really like the idea of my thermostat handling all of the weather dynamics.
Yeah, but it would be cool to have like a localized distributed computing infrastructure in your house, because there's already, if you've got an iPad or a tablet that's sitting there not doing anything, like why can't it chip in some processing power to help?
Cycles that could be doing something. Well,
get to work, lazy bones.
Basically, SETI, right, or Bitcoin mining is all just based off of whatever leftover hardware that's not doing anything at the moment.
Yeah.
But I feel like we really now have even more of a proliferation of that hardware. I guess it's just a matter of like having it all talk together, because everything's got different architecture, right?
Fast enough to be useful, especially when you're talking VR or anything first person. Essentially, it's got to react. Like, it doesn't need the data 5 minutes from now. It needs instantaneously updates of whatever it's trying to do.
And that's going to be tough, too, because, I remember reading something like there's going to be more than 50 household items of yours that are going to connect to the network. The whole Internet of Things everyone's got going on. Like, your light bulbs could potentially be part of that. But wireless standards are actually looking at offering slower bandwidths for those types of things, which
like the low end.
It's like, so you have all these things connected to the network, but a lot of them, like even though you get more and more and more, they might be totally useless for helping out in a practical way beyond their base function.
Right. Yeah, like a light bulb, to use an example.
Lazy dickbags. My light bulb can do a lot more. It's just not.
Not lazy light bulbs.
Not related to video games, but somewhat related on the topic that we're talking about right now. I was showing Ryan this article I read earlier about how a developer, I believe in Norway, who owns a Nissan Leaf, discovered that all of the API calls in his car were unsecured. So he had another friend with a Nissan Leaf in California. So they coordinated, and via the internet, he was able to take over control of the car from his computer, knowing that like all these API calls were unsecure because there's a phone app for it, like to start your car,
Yeah.
set the temperature, and all of that. And so like when we talk about the Internet of Things, that's what really worries me about it is how secure is all of this stuff that's, your car, in your stuff that's in your house. Is it really secure from someone even just looking at it going like, oh, there's no authentication required to,
Right.
to learn.
Those
Just
are the-
wait till someone starts fucking with your Nest.
Yeah,
Right.
really. For those of you who don't know, by the way, API calls means basically you could issue commands to the programming of the vehicle remotely without logging in.
Right.
So anyone could just say, start car at a programming level, and it would. Is there like a eject passenger or blow up car?
They were going to add that this year. They
Yeah?
were going to add blow up car, and they decided it was not safe.
I bet it's
What?
harder with
You're
electric
kidding me.
cars, right?
Weird.
No, I guess if they got lithium
Self-destruct.
batteries, those will
Yeah.
really good.
Or just burn a hole right through the
Yeah.
container.
Every time the Tesla updates, we cheer that it doesn't brick itself.
That's awful.
Like it's coming.
Don't brick my car.
There will be a point in time where something will happen. Maybe it gets halfway through installing and something dies. Whatever. We're gonna come out and our car is gonna have bricked itself.
Do you think it'll make that noise like the Roomba does? Or like, brr, 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 brr.
Do you remember years ago? Maybe you don't remember this, but
Maybe you don't remember.
well,
that.
because you never used Macs when you were.
Oh, that's
when you
fair.
were-
Okay, yeah.
But like when you would start up a Mac, they would have like the little Happy Mac logo. Have you ever seen the Sad Mac logo?
Yeah, it's so sad.
If like there was a firmware problem or if there was like a core hardware problem, instead of smiling, like the screen would turn black and the Mac would frown, and it would give you a hexadecimal error code, which was super helpful before the internet. Let me tell you. Like, oh no, OXCFAC7, no, not 7, 2.
Quick to the hotline.
Yeah, no idea what that means. Yeah,
Or the giant manual that was probably this thick.
yeah.
We did used to get some pretty sweet manuals.
It was probably what you were using to hold up one corner of your desk or something.
I remember one time I was working in a computer lab in high school, and it was like first thing in the morning, and everyone was getting in and turning on their Macs, and I'd never seen a sad Mac before, and then I heard the noise, and I turned around, and looked at it, and I was like, oh, that's weird, that Mac just booted up with a sad Mac, and then the one immediately to its right did a sad Mac,
Uh-oh.
and the one immediately to its right, sad Mac,
It's spreading.
and then I was like, turn that one off. Don't let that computer boot anymore. And there was no reason. It was just 3 isolated, weird, random coincidence. But for some reason, there were like 3 in a row, and they were right next to each
was
other.
it? Or was it one guy that was there yesterday that was like,
That-
oh,
that
look at this
that's
sad
like the
Mac.
new sad Mac. This was a little different.
Okay, someone on Twitter has given me a wonderful platform to speak on. Nesegsar on Twitter says that until mobile can match the scope, story, and atmosphere of Morrowind or Ocarina of Time, they won't give a damn. Let's talk about that, because this is the misunderstanding that keeps coming up when it comes to mobile games wanting to take on hardcore gamers. I really don't think all of these mobile gamers are saying that they want you to go out and play Bejeweled or Candy Crush or whatever, and they want hardcore gamers to do that. I think they legit want to get hardcore games working on those
think
systems
so.
Yeah.
using a controller. Like, think of all the games you play on your console and just playing them through mobile with a normal controller and using it as a headset or screen or whatever instead. Not mobile games.
Right, I think-
Well-
not your endless runners. Not that shit that you have to swipe and tap and
I
none
think
of that.
I
Normal
think
games.
the real problem it comes down to is something we've been talking about touched on a couple times in this episode is battery life. That's what
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times. You can get
Well, you say
beautifully
that.
rendered, 3D immersive stuff, but it's going to tax your battery.
Here's the thing, though. You're already talking about putting it into a device. Like in this case, if you're going to convert it to a VR headset, you're going to put it into a Gear VR.
Plug it in.
You could even have a battery built into the headset. I mean,
Yep.
there's nothing saying that they can't have supplemental batteries there, or you plug it in with the cable, which is what that picture of Zuckerberg walking
Yeah.
past the crowd of zombies. They're all plugged in. But the other part of this is when you're talking about VR and hardcore gamers, that hasn't been defined yet. There isn't what is a
Hardcore
hardcore
VR
VR gamer yet, because that is a genre that doesn't
I
exist.
think right now they're just assuming that hardcore gamers are getting into VR.
Hmm.
So that there's not like hardcore VR gamers, it's hardcore gamers who use VR.
as a market.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you're right. There's not a thing for hardcore VR gamers. I mean, I guess people like you that bought Oculus dev kits years beforehand is just to have it early, you might
Well,
count.
the company did. I didn't. But
Well-
Gus bought it, actually.
And we bought one too. I don't think we have it set up right now.
But I think we will very soon reach that point where
Mm-hmm.
that scope of game is possible, and we will see that an Elder Scrolls style game that's huge and open world. It just becomes a matter of, I think, standardizing inputs and standardizing controls, and figuring out what is it that everyone's going to work with. Because right now, if you're a developer, you make a game, everyone has the phone. You're like, okay, I'm going to make an iOS or I'm going to make an Android game, I know that if they can run the game, they have generally this hardware feature set. You don't know what controller they have. So you have to rely on, your...
I can tell you what it's not. It's not the Steam controller.
It's a very basic touchscreen interface. So I think once we get a little further along and can standardize on control interfaces or improve control interfaces, that's when we'll really see a turn in it.
And as you said,
totally
the yearly
agree.
refresh of the hardware means that essentially that can be next year. They could have something where everybody agrees, okay, this is the mobile input standard, which Bluetooth is basically it already. Anything they'll talk Bluetooth.
think
Like, any
Apple-
Bluetooth controller would totally work with that.
Done.
I think Apple didn't even allow for for controller support in iOS until iOS 8, which is, we're on 9 right now. It's just the previous version.
Yeah.
So we're just reaching the point now where on the Apple side, they're iterating to get to that.
Yeah.
Android, of course, has had it for forever, probably.
Yeah, I see Android driving a lot of this forward a lot more than someone like Apple. One, because, the Samsung, they just added water cooling to the Galaxy S7. It's water cooled.
You mean waterproof?
No, water cooled.
Water-cooled? They've got
They've
a water
got
cooler
water in
inside it?
Yes.
I know they just did an unboxing in a pool, which was pretty cool.
No, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, apparently it's actually water
It's got-
cooled as well.
You can get water on the outside, and it doesn't
and
mess
the
up the water
inside.
on the inside.
But yeah, I think Android's just the place where that's going to be a little bit easier. Apple's philosophy when it comes to games is super weird in general. Like, they're the ones who they just rejected Binding of Isaac for child abuse. You can have all the child abuse you want in movies or music or whatever, but games, they don't allow it.
Well, Android is a competitive within itself as a standard for robustness of hardware. So Apple is basically just competing against them, whatever they want to put out. Whereas Android is, there's a company that wants to make a more aggressive, more powerful phone and get it out there. And they don't care what Apple's doing. They just want to beat all the other Androids.
The hourglass has run out, but
Yeah.
there is one more thing I want to say before we go.
What's up?
When the iPhone was first launched, I remember Apple said some rather negative things about games early on, like even before at the infancy of the App Store, saying that they did not want iOS or the iPhone to become a games platform, that was not the point. And obviously they've changed a bit since. They added Game Center years later. And,
What? $4 billion this year?
Right.
Games are not bad.
And I think the App Store really changed their mind about a lot of that. So that's why they're
Crazy
slow.
how
they,
that
They were
happens.
slow in adding Game Center. They were slow in adding controller support. But I think that they're definitely coming around. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll have so many more
We're doing a
things to
game
yell
club
about.
next week, right?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I got to get on that.
Club is,
It's
so
Life is
Life is
Strange.
Strange. March 2nd. That's the one.
Cool. All right.
So
Well,
we'll be
we'll
doing
see you
it then.
guys, and we'll be talking about Life is Strange next
So
week.
play Life is Strange.
Bye.